She's good at that.
You gotta love yourself before you can love someone else, because happiness, ooh, it comes from within.
You gotta trust and let go with all your heart and your soul.
Oh yeah,
Because true love, ooh, it comes from within.
well, if you can talk, you can sing.
And if you can walk, you can dance.
You know that you can do most anything.
If you just give yourself half a chance.
Oh, you gotta love yourself before you can do like someone else. Because happiness,
Oh,
it comes from within.
oh yeah, sure, America. Well, you gotta love yourself before you can love someone else. Because happiness, ooh, it comes from within.
Oh, you gotta
You gotta
trust
trust
and let go
and let go.
with all your heart and your soul. Because true love,
True love,
oh,
happiness.
it comes from within.
Well, you know that if you can talk, you can sing.
Yeah, if you can walk, you can dance.
Well, you can do most anything.
Yeah, you just give yourself half a chance.
You gotta love yourself
Love yourself.
before you can love someone else.
Oh, yeah.
Because happiness,
Oh, it comes from within.
happiness and true love
Yeah,
come
you know
from
what
within.
happiness.
Happiness
Oh,
and true love come from within.
Oh, listen now, happiness.
Happiness
Oh,
and true
comes from
love
deep
come from
within.
within. One more time.
Happiness.
Happiness and true love
Comes
come
from
from
within. Oh,
within.
we gotta sing it one more time. Happiness.
Happiness and true love.
Comes from within.
Oh yeah. It is comes within. Yeah.
Good morning and welcome. It is my privilege and my honor to greet you as we gather for sacred Sunday service, knowing that us coming together on Sundays is a blessing to us and to our world. And I would love to extend a warm welcome to those from outside of our area. And so now for a bit of housekeeping. We are recording this service and we will be posting it on social media, both to support those who are unable to attend and to build out our community. So because of that, please remember that you can turn off your video and appear just as a first name. Now, one of our intents in gathering for Sunday morning is to create what the Quakers call a sacred space, which means that together we unite in a consciousness of one that is a felt unity. And because of that intent to stay gathered, I would encourage you to please refrain from using your chat function until the calls for prayers at the end of service. After service, there will be an opportunity for a 5-minute complimentary spiritual mind treatment with a practitioner in a private Zoom room. So now, without further ado, for the past 5 years, we have been guided by a soul that is steeped in love and guided in wisdom. She earned her Master's of Consciousness at the Holmes Institute and is our very own beloved Reverend Sharon Dunn.
Good morning. Thanks, Linda. That was amazing. That was great. Hi, Patrick. Hi, everybody. Good to see everybody. How are we doing? Remember, this is great. This is okay. And this is not so great. Glad to be here. All right. So how are we doing? All right. Well, I like to see those hands. Awesome. So we are living in some times, aren't we? You know, there's just no let up, is there? Right now, we're called to be at our best spiritually. That's what we're called to. So I'm so glad we're all here today to explore what that looks like. And I get the honor and privilege of introducing our practitioner today and my colleague, my friend. She's an amazing, amazing soul. She actually was the presenter at our Wisdom Wednesday, which was really awesome. Reverend Sarah Nichols and I went to school together at the same time. I'd consider her my litter mate. She's also my mentor, my teacher, and an amazing soul, Reverend Sarah.
Thank you so much, Sharon, Reverend Sharon, for that wonderful introduction and for this beautiful community that I am getting to know and be part of. And so let's just take a breath and acknowledge and fall into and recognize the only thing ever happening here, the one love, one heart, one infinite presence, one mind, all knowing, all powerful, beyond time, beyond space, beyond expectation, beyond limitation, beyond lack, beyond precedent, lies the one. I just feel this one and know that it is the only power and presence in the entire universe and all multiverses. And it has delighted in creating the entire world, every part of it, and every man, woman, and child, and person, and cat and dog, in every country and every city, and creating this center. And it is living out its perfect life as us. And so I speak my word with and for this service today, knowing that Spirit is just delighting in being it. It is delighting, it already has delighted in simply gathering here today on Zoom. It already has delighted in showing up as Erica Mitchell and Marty Vandry, and it will delight further in their beautiful music and spirit. It already has delighted as practitioner Linda Connolly, bringing us together and welcoming us, and it will continue to do so. It is thrilled to speak as Reverend Sharon Dunn and to bring clarity and power and love and wisdom through her, through this surrendered vessel that is our spiritual leader, that is allowing herself to be worked by Spirit and to get her own self out of the way and allow Spirit to speak through her so that we can know more about Spirit as us. It is delighting in being each of us watching it live or later, and the feelings and the joy and the tingling that we are getting, and the ideas and the knowledge more and more and more about ourselves. Every single one of us in service in the way we are today, simply by being here, by contributing financially and being in that reciprocity of giving and receiving, all of us are lifted up. Spirit gets to have this amazing, gorgeous healing experience of ground zero love as the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living today. More than ever before. What else is possible? How does it get even better than this? I know that it is so. And together you can say with me, with your mute on, and so it is. And now I would love for you to join me in affirming this received vision and mission and purpose that this center has. So with your mute on, if you will say in unison with me as I read these words, we will augment the power and change our own consciousness so that we become everything we speak. Vision. We are a welcoming sanctuary community where all are accepted, valued, and supported in the global family. And with me, our mission. We inspire and nurture personal and global transformation through the teaching of science of mind. And with me, our purpose. In joy and love, we connect in service to all light, to all life, light and life. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce our guest musicians. So these two are a duo of creativity and amazing talent. Erica Mitchell and Marty Landry are not only members of our center, but they've given their time and their talent, not only through their music, but Erica designed and organized the building of our amazing stage, which even as we don't stand on it, holds us up in consciousness. And you just saw a video at the beginning of this service of their performance of Happiness Comes from Within. How beautiful was that as our welcome song? Gorgeous, gorgeous song. Thank you. And now we get to hear a live Zoom performance of their original song, We Are. Please stay muted, but follow along with Erica and Marty's chant. We are.
So we stop our video now.
Hi, I'm Marty, and I was inspired to write this chant probably a couple of weeks ago with all of the unrest that's going on with the murder of George Floyd and all of the protesting. So I was inspired to write this chant, and I love the scale of the harmonic minor, so that's what this is in.
And we're going to shut down our video to make sure there isn't a problem with our internet feed while we sing.
We are one family. We are one heart. We are divinity. We are one.
We are one people. We are one light. We are compassion. We are one.
And we are one nation. We are one voice. We are resilience. We are one.
We are one human race. We are one truth. We are one spirit. We are one.
We are one family. We are one heart. We are divinity. We are one.
We are one people. We are one light. We are compassion. We are one.
We are one nation. We are one voice. We are resilience. We are one.
We are one human race. We are one truth. We are one spirit. We are one.
And we are love.
Yes, we are love.
We are one.
We are one.
I am going to bring forth these readings. When the time comes that nothing goes forth from you other than that which you would be glad to have return, then you will have reached your heaven. They themselves are makers of themselves by virtue of the thoughts which they choose and encourage. That mind is the master weaver both of the inner garment of character and the outer garment of circumstance, and that, as they may have hitherto woven in ignorance and pain, they may now weave in enlightenment and happiness. You get what you intend to create by being in harmony with the power of intention, which is responsible for all of creation. And now we're about to go into this video meditation, and then right on the other side of it, we will go straight into hearing from our wonderful Doug Van Workum. He has been a poet and a storyteller for 20 plus years. He uses poetry as a way to help explore and understand and heal some of the inner woundings we all received as children while growing up in this culture and continue to carry in our adult lives. He uses the power of the full poetry of Rumi, Hafiz, and many others, in addition to his own poetry, which is deeply influenced by Science of Mind teachings. And while he is not drumming with us on Zoom, he is beating the drum for love and justice in our community. And let us go into meditation to prepare ourselves for that.
This 3-minute meditation is about cultivating the witness of who you are as the non-judging observer. You might begin by just relaxing and notice everything that you're aware of right now. How intimately can you feel the breath moving inside? How intimately can you detect the sound vibrations right now? Imagine, if you wish, that you are an eagle on the top of the highest sycamore above a river, and you are aware of everything that moves. Can you sense this quality of deep relaxation with alertness? Can you sense this quality of non-grasping, non-judging presence that is fully awake and at the same time relaxed and allowing? Nothing to do and nowhere to go, but simply to be. Awake, alert, relaxed and spacious. Relax and feel. This
We need you to unmute.
There we go. Try that again. Good morning, everyone. The poem I've brought this morning is a Coleman Barks translation of a Rumi poem. Rumi was a 13th century Sufi mystical poet. In the poem, he talks of Solomon, who is often referred to as the wise king, and how his wisdom is expressed. In the last line, which is, I think, the whole reason or point of the poem, I took a personal liberty and replaced the word prince with the phrase king or queen in an attempt to call all of us into the spirit of the poem's message, which I feel connects well to this week's theme of mindful intention. The title of the poem is The Far Mosque. It's short, I will read through it twice. The place that Solomon made to worship in, called the Far Mosque, is not built of earth or water or stone, but of intention and wisdom, mystical conversation, and compassionate action. Every part of it is intelligent and responsive to every other part. The carpet bows to the broom. The door knocker and the door swing together like musicians. This heart sanctuary does exist, but it can't be described. Solomon goes there every morning and gives guidance with words and musical harmonies and with actions, which are the deepest teachings. A king or a queen is just a conceit until they do something with generosity. And again, the place that Solomon made to worship in, called the Far Mosque, is not built of earth and water or stone, but instead of intention and wisdom, mystical conversation, and compassionate action. Every part of it is intelligent and responsive to every other part. The carpet bows to the broom. The door knocker and the door swing together like musicians. This heart sanctuary does exist, but it cannot be described. Solomon goes there every morning and gives guidance with words, with musical harmonies, and with actions, which are the deepest teachings. A king or a queen is just a deceit until they do something with generosity.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, everybody, actually. Good morning again. I'm Reverend Sharon Dunn. I'm the senior minister here at the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living, and I welcome all of you to our Sunday service. And oh gosh, I'm still feeling the brilliance of Marty and Erica, not only in the opening song, but in the chant. I want to say that was enchanting, but it was so much more than that. It was so powerful for where we are today. It was so perfect. And so that is going to be one of our chants. You agree? That is in the books. So this is June. We have our theme, Mindfulness for Mavericks, as our theme for the month. And we looked at the quote by Alan Rickman last week. Maverick is a word which appeals to me more than misfit. Maverick is active. Misfit is passive. Isn't that wonderful? So we are active. We know we are active this month, and what we're doing is exploring what is the action, right? So today's theme topic is mindful intentions, which I think is a wonderful topic. And I just want to acknowledge that this is also Pride Month. So happy Pride. And we are so grateful for where we are today in so many ways. Because there was a time, when the protests in the streets looked a little more colorful. And we've come a long ways in so many ways. And we have to continue coming a long ways, don't we? So being mindful with intention is going to be a great topic. And I want to start with telling you that I'm going to talk about three things. One is, who do you think you are? And number two, your mind is the most powerful instrument in the universe. And number three, what are you using your mind for? Are you with me? So let's dive in. Of course, we know in religious science that Ernest Holmes, our teacher, he is the author of our textbook, Science of Mind. We are 100 years old, a little over 100 years old now with his teachings. And what I'm going to show you today is that he was also very involved in religions from all over the world and scriptures from all over the world. And he studied all of the great works. And today we're going to bring in some of that. And so this whole idea that thoughts are things is that man's thought, Ernest Holmes says, is creative. Let's say all thought, let's not just man, but men, women, all. Thought is creative because our thought is God power flowing through the individual will and imagination. And we're going to talk a lot about our imagination today. And you know, it's funny because I was thinking about the topic and I was thinking about the notes, and I thought to myself, well, what's going on in the world is so big. Is this topic rising up to meet that? And I stewed and I stewed and I thought, is this really enough? And then I realized, wait a minute. Whoa, Nellie, we're talking about the power of our thought. Where was I? Where I was in the effects. I got involved in everything that's going around me, and I got lost in it. Do you ever feel like you get lost in what I've called the category 4 storm that's going on with the pandemic and the political unrest, or you could say the political divide. You could say the pandemic political divide, the racial unrest, and the economic fallout, and then our own personal experiences with whatever's going on. And I thought, well, does this topic stand up? And then I realized, oh, wow, I've got to get seeped in this topic. I've got to get seeped in the power I have at hand that each one of us has. We've got the superpower, right? That's bigger than anything going on out there. And where was I? I was sitting there going, there's so much going on out there. That's what's big. What do they say? Don't tell God how big your problems are. Tell your problems how big your God is. So I dove into a couple of things. I dove into our book of the month, which is The Miracle of Mindfulness, an Introduction to the Practice of Meditation by Thich Nhat Hanh. I got to tell you, this book is so wonderful. And the reason I got into it was because I'm teaching on Tuesday mornings the 5 pillars of a spiritual life. And last week was prayer. This week is going to be meditation. And I thought, well, an introduction to the practice of meditation, as I could pet 2 birds with one hand. I could prepare for my class on Tuesday and learn a little something about mindfulness for Sunday, a twofer. So I did. So we're going to bring that in, and we're going to start with, we're definitely going to start with, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? And I want you to know that you are your faith. Now, for some of us who are new to getting into any kind of spiritual or religious identity, that may sound like faith. Wait a minute. But really, if you think about it, we're going to dive into what faith is today, and you're going to love it. But your life is a reflection of your belief about yourself. So just kind of, if faith is not your word, let's look at what you believe. And we're going to talk about, in Proverbs 23:7, it is said that for as one thinks in one's heart, so it is. So think with me, taste faith as if you've never tasted it before. It's being served to you with love, with connection, and with purpose. And so we are studying the Bhagavad Gita, and I asked my daughter about the Bhagavad Gita, and she goes, what? I said, the Bhagavad Gita. She goes, is that a bug? I said, no, it's not a bug. She's, well, what is it? I said, well, it's an epic poem in Hinduism. She goes, oh, it's an Indian bug. I'm like, no, it's more like scripture, like the Bible. It's like the Quran. Anyway, the conversation was rich in that I think I need to say, what is the Bhagavad Gita? And the Bhagavad Gita is one of my favorite scriptures. And it takes place in a field in India and 3,000 years ago, where it's a battle. And there's a chariot, and there's a charioteer, which is Krishna, the Lord Krishna, and then there's Arjuna, who is the is the soldier. And so the Bhagavad Gita talks about this battle that's about to ensue, and it is the eve of the battle, and they have this conversation, and the entire conversation between Krishna and Arjuna is the Bhagavad Gita, and it's beautiful. And so I want to bring it to your attention because Ernest Holmes, our founder, I'm making this up, but I'm going to speak for him since he's not here anymore and can't defend himself. But he loved the Bhagavad Gita, and I can tell you why. His last book that he wrote, The Voice Celestial, is a tribute to the song Celestial, which is the Bhagavad Gita. He and his brother Fenwick wrote it. So I'm saying, my heavens, he really liked it. And it's structured very much like the Bhagavad Gita with the verses and the chapters, 18 verses. And so you get the idea that Krishna, this is from the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains the nature of faith. What's wonderful about the Bhagavad Gita is, well, number one, it soothes my soul when I feel like I'm in a battle. I don't think we can get any more into a battle than we are right now. And so I highly recommend you taste it. But he calls it Shraddha. Shraddha is the word for faith. Shraddha is taken to mean what is held in the heart. Isn't that nice? What is held in the heart? And he says, Shraddha is the sum total of your values. Now, we talked about this in class the other night. Listen to this. The top 10 people you spend the most time with represent the sum total of your values. Did you hear that? The top 10 people you spend the most time with represent the sum total of your values. Well, I know Ruth's smiling over there because she's got Cookie. She's like, I'm good. Next. The top 10 pursuits you spend the most time engaged in represent the sum total of your values. Okay? Your Shraddha, your faith, is revealed through your yoga practice. And yoga is the action you take in your life, right? It's your practice. Now, our science of mind principle to match to, this particular topic is, we believe that the kingdom of heaven is within us and that we experience this kingdom to the degree that we become conscious of it. This is written by Ernest Holmes. It's our what you believe, what we believe. And the reason I bring that up is because when I said to myself, is this topic big enough? Well, is heaven big enough? Is the kingdom of heaven big enough for us to bring into our experience? And we can. And so I think you know, I often talk about the telescope on the horizon, right? And I speak that on the horizon, on one side, we have the Category 4 storm. And on this side, on the opposite side, we have the kingdom of heaven. And if we move our telescope over to the kingdom of heaven, we cannot see or give attention to, not that we don't want to see, we want to see what's going on, but we want to make more over here of heaven on earth. And so it's not that we're turning away from what's going on, but we are in quantum mechanics bringing attention and collapsing into form more heaven, which we really need. We really need. Are you in agreement? We need? Yeah. And that's an action that we can be doing. So your mind, I say, is the most powerful instrument in the universe. And so when I was sitting there in the effects were more powerful to me. Do you ever do that? Let the effects be more powerful and get scared and paralyzed? Paralyzed. Forgetful. I forget who I am, whose I am. Thank goodness that amnesia doesn't last very long because of my spiritual practice. Thank goodness. But then as soon as I'm over here focused on what is mine to do, what I can do to bring more good in the world, I feel better. Do you ever know that when you're doing something that's upsetting you, you can feel it in your body and your stomach and your head pounds and you just kind of want to hide under the cover? Okay, let me speak for myself. And then I kind of want to hide under the covers and binge watch something. Not that I ever do that. But the point of this idea that your mind is the most powerful instrument in the world is Henry David Thoreau said, live the life you have imagined. And so right now, it's really important for us to be imagining the life we want. It's really important to realize that we are a pebble thrown into a pond and that what we imagine ripples out and affects us all. It's important for us to realize that we're powerful and our mind is the most powerful instrument in the universe, and we can help. We can help. We can help right now. And so being the master of your own experience by creating mindful intentions and daily training your mind to create the life of your choosing, daily training. This is like going to the gym, the mental gym, right? We use affirmations, we use prayer, we read, we study, we meditate, we do our yoga. So it's just not our spoken word that is powerful, but every thought. Now, every thought, don't get scared. When I first heard that, I was like, oh gosh, every thought? I'm not going to tell anybody. But it is the thought that we give attention to. It is the thoughts that we truly have conviction of. It's the thought that we have faith in. It's the Shraddha thought, right? The Shraddha thought. So I read some of Thich Nhat Hanh's book, and then once I started reading, you know, I was gobbling it up. But let me share a little piece with you. So if this is Thich Nhat Hanh talking to his friend, if while washing dishes, we think only of the cup of tea that awaits us, thus hurrying to get the dishes out of the way as if they were a nuisance, then we are not washing the dishes. To wash the dishes, we are not washing the dishes to wash the dishes. What's more, we're not alive during the time we are washing the dishes. In fact, we are completely incapable of realizing the miracle of life while standing at the sink. If we can't wash the dishes, the chances are we won't be able to drink our tea either. While drinking the cup of tea, we will only be thinking of other things, barely aware of the cup in our hands. Thus, we are sucked away into the future, and we are incapable of actually living 1 minute of life. Well, let me tell you how I've been washing my dishes. Right? Because I am powerful, and I have an imagined life, and I have to be a part of it. I have to be active in it. I can't just say, yeah, I'd kind of like some peace on earth, without being the peace on earth. He goes on to say, now he's with his other friend, they're eating a tangerine. Jim became so immersed in what he'd be doing in the future that he literally forgot about what he was doing in the present. He popped a section of tangerine in his mouth, and before he had begun chewing it, had another slice ready to pop into his mouth again. He was hardly aware he was eating a tangerine. All I had to say was, you ought to eat the tangerine section you've already taken. Jim was startled into realizing what he was doing. It was as if he hadn't been eating the tangerine at all. If he had been eating anything, he was eating his future plans. Right. So guys, here I am, right? Here I am thinking about, well, is this topic big enough? But what was I really saying? Am I big enough? Is there anything I can do? It's too big. It's too overwhelming. It's too horrific. It's impossible. Or maybe I'll just take one moment at a time and have Shraddha that my consciousness makes a difference. Last week we talked about what is mine to do, what is right action. And I said, for me, right action is to know what I stand for as I take action on what is mine to do. I defined myself, and I highly recommend finding yourself defined, because it is the power of intention. And I have to tell you, this week was so much better for me than last week, because I know who I am. I know how powerful my mind is, and I know how to behave according to my Shraddha. I know that I can't have faith in love and peace and principle if I'm acting violent, if I'm condemning and angry. And now that's not to say I can't be angry. I must be angry. I must feel the fear. I must feel the sorrow. I must feel the anger, so I know what it feels like, and then I reach for what I want it to feel like, which is not that. And I don't want anyone to feel that. I don't want anyone, any color of a person, any orientation of a person, any religious beliefs of a person, any country of origin, any ability. I don't want anyone to feel that. And so I will speak his name, Rayshard Brooks, another African American, Black American, another Black American shot down by the police. And I'm not going to say anything about the situation except drunk and disorderly conduct is not a death sentence. Thank God. I don't know if any of you have been there, but I'm a child of the 60s. Oh, so what are you using your mind for? Ernest Holmes says the power that creates exists before we use it. However, it can give us only that which we mentally take, and often our unbelief becomes our acceptance. Often our unbelief becomes our acceptance, our fear, a misplaced faith. How many times have you been afraid and made that your God? Well, certainly in the last couple of weeks, I've tried that on. So Ernest Holmes talks about the creative process. He talks about the seed, right? The soil and the plant. That we plant a seed, that we nurture it in the soil, and that we have a manifestation or a demonstration of the plant. This is the creative process, right? Well, listen to the Bhagavad Gita. 3,000 years ago, it states that the law of karma equivocally, that though we cannot see the connections, we can be sure that everything that happens to us, good and bad, originated once in something we did or thought. Now, this was the Bhagavad Gita, the bug from India. Okay, it kind of sounds familiar to our teaching. We ourselves, it goes on to say, are responsible for what happens to us, whether or not we can understand how. Because in our teaching, we say we don't have to worry about how. There's a power greater than ourselves that takes care of the how. I call it Howie. My God is Howie. I highly recommend you name your God. It follows that we can change what happens to us by changing ourselves. We can take our destiny into our own hands. Here it is, drum roll. It is in the mind rather than the world that karma's seeds are planted. Who's a copycat? Aptly, right? Indian philosophy compares a thought to a seed. Very tiny, but it can grow into a huge, deep-rooted, wide-spreading tree. I have seen places, it goes on to say, where a seed in a crack of a pavement grew into a tree that tore up the sidewalk. It is difficult to remove such a tree and terribly difficult to undo the effects of a lifetime of negative thinking, which can extend into many other people's lives. But it can be done, and the purpose of the Gita is to show how. Now, wait a minute. It's difficult to undo the effects of a lifetime of negative thinking, and I'm choking on that because isn't that what we're seeing outside? 400 years or more of negative thinking. It is hard to remove such a tree, but we must together have Shraddha, believe that yes, I am powerful, and yes, I must keep my mind on purpose. I must keep my mind deeply rooted in love, equity, equality, justice, peace, harmony, freedom, oneness, unity. We must walk and talk in that purpose. As I take the brush and clean my fork, I am cleaning my fork. I am love. I am peace. I am taking action on that any time I can. I don't know what it looks like, whether I'm protesting or whether I'm writing letters or whether I'm educating myself, working at self-realization, contributing financially, helping with voters. There's no end to what we can do. Praying, a silent retreat, whatever it is you're doing, you are important, and what you're doing is so important. Dr. Ken Gordon, Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon, he was our spiritual leader before Reverend Dr. Edward Villayun became our spiritual leader last year. And he says, now remember, treatment, spiritual mind treatment is what we call prayer. It's a 5-step prayer, and some call it an affirmative prayer because really it's structured in a positive, affirmative way. And he says the time it takes from treatment to demonstration or result, right, or manifestation, is the measurement of your disbelief. The time it takes from treatment, from prayer to demonstration, is the measurement of your disbelief. So guys, it's really important to get that this topic I thought was insignificant is really the most important topic there is. What was I thinking? I was thinking into effects. I was thinking that what's going on in the world is bigger than me. And if we're thinking that, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing. Just get out of the way. You already have all the Shraddha you'll ever need. You don't have to go find it somewhere. You don't have to catch it from someone else. Like, we're in a pandemic. I need to catch some faith somewhere. You have all the faith you need in you. And we have all the faith, all the spiritual tools for personal, and are you ready for this? And global transformation. Grow up. Grow up. Let us pray. And so, if you have no, not if, put your prayer request in the chat. Or you can always go on to our Facebook page and put a prayer request into the prayer requests pull down menu, and it will go directly to the ministers and practitioners for a week. Both your prayers in the chat and your prayers on our website. They will be prayed for a week. We already know all the names of the people and their families that have fallen to create what is going on with our country. Supported, by the way, all over the world. Do you see what I mean? One person, George Floyd, one person can change the world. Sharon Dunn can change the world. Ruth Hall can change the world. Erica Mitchell can change the world. Corey Andis can change the world. Also, when we're finished here, stay on. We have fellowship. And in fellowship is when you can go into a room, a private Zoom room, with a practitioner or minister for a 5-minute miracle, a 5-minute complimentary spiritual mind treatment. And we're always available to you. You don't have to wait till Sunday to be with us. There's plenty of opportunity. That information is on our website. So I'm so happy to know that there's a power so much bigger than my imagination. There's a power that created everything. And out of itself comes everything, all life. I say all life because all life is. Life is in the rocks, the sand. Life is everywhere present. Life is in the falling leaf, the sunset that fades. Life is always ever expanding. And this life, this creator, is loving. It is absolutely the most loving presence. It loves way beyond my wildest imaginings. It gives whenever it is allowed. And it does not push itself on its creation. It is not absorbed by its creation. It created free will for its creation, for the purpose of its creation to find itself in this beautiful presence. It's like this treasure hunt. I am. And so I know that this presence, this loving presence, this mind, this heart, this power, this intelligence is who I am. It is who each of us are. There is no us and them. There is only one. And before the Big Bang, before we ever got here, before, there was unity where we were all correlated. There is that memory in all of our DNA. There is no other. There is only a purposeful life to come together in unity, to lift one another up, to know, hey, we have scarce resources. Let's share. Hey, we all deserve equity and equality. Hey, our children must be fed. Hey, we are safe. In all of this in God, all of this in the one mind, and all of this known in every shraddha, in every faith, whether it be Islam, or Christianity or Buddhism or the sheiks or Judaism. It is all about the same thing. It is all about love. It is all about peace. It is all about prosperity and abundance. No one, no thing, no animal, no plant, this earth, us, no one goes without care. Not the earth, not our brothers, not our sisters, not our children, not our animals, nothing. We are one, we are in this together, and anything we can imagine is ours. And so together, right here and right now, we imagine a world that works for everyone. Everyone. I am so grateful that this prayer is answered. I'm so grateful to know the power of prayer. And I release my word into the law, the Howie, that greets every one of my prayers with, got it. I got this. Because the conviction and the belief and that it's covered in love makes it so. And so with me, in agreement and powerful praise, we say, and so it is. Ashe. Shalom. Amen. Hallelujah. God bless us all.
Now I've been happy lately, thinking about good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Now I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one, and I believe it could be someday it's gonna come.
'Cause out on the edge of darkness there rides a peace train. A peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Now I've been smiling lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Come on the peace train. Peace train, holy roller. Everyone jump on the peace train. Come on the peace train.
Get your bags together. Go bring your good friends too, because it's getting nearer. Soon it'll be with you. You'll come and join the living. It's not so far from you, and it's getting nearer. Soon it'll all be true. No peace train sounding louder. Glide on the peace train. Come on, no peace train, peace train.
Now I've been crying lately, thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? Why can't we live in this?
'Cause out on the edge of darkness there rides a peace train. Peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Come on now, peace train. Peace train, holy roller. Everyone jump on the peace train. Come
welcome. And now we're going to share some gifts that we have for you today. And we appreciate your gifts. And if you would use our PayPal or credit card on our website. And also you can have a chance to donate at www.scsl.org, or you could send your gift with a personal check to Sacramento CSL, 6035 Main Street, Orangevale, California, 95662. And we're so grateful. Thank you. Now, if you repeat or follow me with your, as you're muted, for your abundance affirmation. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share and my willingness to share it, knowing that my gift returns to me multiplied many times over. Thank you.
I love that Margie talked about the gifts we have to give, because that really is what we're here for. This center, your center, is more than just Sunday services. We have so many things available to support all of us and to maintain our community. The first one is classes. We have 2 classes going on right now, the 5 Pillars and the Bhagavad Gita that Reverend Sharon mentioned. Both of these are drop-in classes. You are welcome to come anytime. And there's more information about all of these events, both on our website and on our meetup site. Also, we do Wisdom Wednesdays on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays. So this Wednesday actually is choir practice, but we're going to go back to having a once a month visioning. And this month it's on Monday, June 22nd. And Reverend Sharon said that it doesn't matter how many show up. If you are the only one that shows up, she will do a full-on personal visioning for your life. And if you have not visioned with Sharon, you have missed an opportunity. She is phenomenal at this wonderful spiritual practice. So please join on Monday the 22nd. One of the things Sharon mentioned was, and Reverend Sharon mentioned in her talk, was what is ours to do, especially now at this time of increased awareness about the need for social justice, our need to wake up with intention. And there are actually 2 opportunities right now that you can jump on if this is your path and yours to do. One is a book study on the book White Fragility, being done by Reverend Elizabeth Rowley of the Central Coast Scsl. And this is a wonderful book. I'm about 1/3 of the way through it. And there will be a lot of small group interaction, a lot of discussion, a lot of acceptance and openness about what is white fragility? Why is it so hard for us as white people to talk about racism? And how can we change that? How can we open that channel within ourselves? And if you're a little more action oriented, the West Sac Center for Spiritual Awareness, Reverend Georgia, is doing a 21-day racial equity challenge. And they not only have a program for adults, they also have a program for children. And I would highly recommend this. And I will be sending out information later today or tomorrow about this. The book study, the next meeting is not this Thursday, but next. But you have to join this week because the class will be closed. And the 21-day challenge actually starts today. So check it out with the West Sac Center for Spiritual Awareness. We also have our every Friday Kindred Connection. This is a wonderful time just to get together and stay connected as a community. There generally is absolutely no agenda except potentially bring your favorite pun. We do seem to like puns a lot, so there's a lot of laughter. So do join us on Friday evenings. We also have, someone asked about how to mark your gift for our live stream fund. And when you give a gift, this would be in addition to your normal support of the center, just put the word match in the notation area, and then we'll know this is part of the matching grant that we have. We have a member of our community who is putting up $950. If we can match it, that means we got $1,900. So please be generous and support our virtual ministry, our love stream into the world. And finally, we have a board meeting this afternoon that is open to all. It is on the same Zoom meeting ID, Zoom room that we have for the Sunday service. It starts at 1 o'clock and everyone's welcome. And I think that is all the announcements we have. So let's move together into our closing song, all with our mutes on, but singing together.
We are one together on this path of life. We are one in spirit. We remember we are the light. We are one together on this path of life. We are one in spirit. We remember we are the light. We remember we are the light.
The gift this week is the affirmation, my faith is strong. My intentions are clear and powerful. So now, please stay with us for our fellowship time and complimentary 5-minute Science of the Mind treatment with a practitioner that will be in a private Zoom room. And now for our benediction. So as we breathe in to this sacred space that was